in one of the most emotionally charged episodes of Law and Order: Organized Crime. Season 5, Episode 9 delivered a gut-wrenching blow to Detective Elliot Stabler as he lost his troubled younger brother Joe in a deadly undercover operation gone wrong. The episode masterfully wove together themes of family loyalty, betrayal, and the moral compromises that come with working both sides of the law. By the end, viewers were left questioning how far Stabler might go to avenge his brother's death, with the final scene suggesting he could be crossing a line he can't come back from. The episode opens with tension already high as Stabler questions his mother about Joey's whereabouts. She claims Joe Jr. is in Europe, but Stabler insists he saw his brother at her apartment. This contradiction immediately sets up the episode's central mystery. What exactly is Joe up to, and why is he back in New York when he's supposedly overseas? These questions become more urgent when we see Joe with Julian Emery, a dangerous international arms dealer and drug trafficker who's been on law enforcement's radar for some time. We learn that Joe has been working as Stabler's confidential informant for 6 months, supposedly helping to bring down Emery's criminal network. But there are troubling signs that Joe might be playing both sides. When narcotics detective Tim McKenna calls Stabler to a crime scene, they find a packet of a new drug called Captagon at the site of an apparent murder. McKenna connects this to the Boone Farm heroin case that both Stabler and Joe were previously involved with, suggesting Joe might be deeper in Emery's operations than he's letting on. The episode expertly builds suspense when Agent Tanner from Counterterrorism shows up, explaining that Captagon is a psychoactive stimulant coming from the Syrian government, with proceeds funding both infrastructure rebuilding and terrorist activities. This raises the stakes significantly. This isn't just about drug trafficking anymore but potentially about international terrorism. Tanner insists on working alongside Stabler on the case, creating tension as Stabler tries to protect his brother's identity as his CI. Meanwhile, family drama unfolds as Stabler's other brother Randall confronts him about Joe, sensing something dangerous is happening. "I'm getting premonitions," Randall warns. "And I don't get premonitions." This foreshadowing adds a layer of dread to the unfolding events. Simultaneously, we see Joe's conflicted loyalty as he video chats with his young son, saying it might be the last time he sees him. "We have to disappear," he tells Emery, who speaks of escaping to Manado where there's no extradition treaty. The heart of the episode is a meeting between the Stabler brothers, where Joe tells Elliot that Emery is closing a $300 million Captagon deal with Syrian connections at Miller Airfield in Staten Island. The brothers share a poignant moment as Stabler gives Joe a St. Christopher medal from their mother. "So you'll be safe," he explains. Joe asks Elliot to make sure their mother knows he's clean, a detail that becomes heartbreaking in retrospect. Before parting, Elliot urges Joe to come home when it's over, to which Joe simply responds, "Miller Airfield, Staten Island, 8 o'clock tonight." What follows is a brilliantly executed twist as we discover Joe is actually setting Stabler up. In a tense scene with Emery, Joe confirms he told his brother about Staten Island while they're actually conducting their business in Bay Ridge. The betrayal seems complete until Emery notices the St. Christopher medal and realizes it contains a tracking device. "You're wearing a tracker, Joe," Emery says coldly, revealing that Stabler had anticipated his brother's deception all along. The raid at the warehouse becomes a chaotic shootout as Emery and Joe flee the scene. Stabler pursues them through the streets until they abandon their vehicle and disappear into an industrial area. In a chilling moment, Emery calls Stabler, using Joe as leverage. "Remove the APB on me or he dies," Emery demands. But as sirens and helicopters close in, Emery realizes escape is impossible. A gunshot rings out off-screen, and Stabler finds his brother mortally wounded. The scene where Joe dies in Stabler's arms stands as one of the most emotional moments in the series. "Tell her I was clean," Joe pleads, referring to their mother. "You tell her yourself." Stabler responds desperately, urging his brother to stay alive. But despite Stabler's pleas, Joe slips away, leaving his brother devastated. Christopher Meloni delivers a powerful performance here, his grief palpable as he cradles his dead brother. The camera lingers on his tear-stained face, giving viewers time to process the weight of this loss alongside Stabler. The final act of the episode takes an unexpected turn as McKenna approaches Stabler with an offer. He's captured one of Emery's men fleeing the shootout and presents Stabler with a choice. They can book him properly or go for a ride, implying extrajudicial punishment. Let's go for a ride. Stabler decides without hesitation, suggesting he's willing to operate outside the law to get justice for his brother. The episode closes with the ominous image of Emery's man bound in the trunk of a car, struggling and screaming in muffled terror, while a wolf howls in the distance, a fitting metaphor for Stabler turning predatory in his grief. This episode brilliantly explores the complex relationship between the Stabler brothers. Throughout the series, Joe has been portrayed as the family's black sheep, troubled, unreliable, but not without redeeming qualities. Here, we see the full complexity of his character. Was he truly betraying Elliot by working with Emery, or was he playing a deeper game? His final actions suggest he may have been trying to do the right thing in the end, using the tracker to lead Elliot to Emery despite the risk to himself. The Street Christopher medal serves as a powerful symbol throughout the episode. As the patron saint of travelers, it represents protection, but it ultimately becomes the tool of Joe's undoing when Emery discovers it contains a tracker. The medal also symbolizes the Stabler family's Catholic faith. Joe mentions being an altar boy, and Stabler clearly hoped the religious medallion would offer his brother genuine spiritual protection. Instead, it became the physical means of surveillance, showing how Stabler couldn't fully trust his brother despite wanting to believe in him. The introduction of Captagon adds a timely element to the storyline. This real-world drug has been linked to Syrian government funding and terrorism, creating a storyline that feels ripped from actual headlines. When Agent Tanner describes it as next-level opiate crisis on steroids addictive, viewers understand the catastrophic potential of this substance hitting American streets. This raises the stakes beyond the personal drama of the Stabler family to a matter of national security. Elliot Stabler's character development is particularly noteworthy in this episode. Throughout his career across multiple Law and Order series, Stabler has always walked a thin ethical line, sometimes crossing into brutality when cases become personal. Here, his final choice to go for a ride with Emery's captured associate shows how grief might push him further into that moral gray area. The death of his brother, coming years after the murder of his wife, which prompted his return to the NYPD at the beginning of the series, represents another traumatic loss that could further darken his approach to justice. The episode leaves several compelling questions for future episodes to address. Will Stabler cross a line he can't come back from in his quest for vengeance? Will Emery be captured, or will he escape to Monado as planned? How will Stabler explain Joe's death to their mother, and will he honor his brother's last wish by telling her Joe was clean? And perhaps most importantly, how will this loss affect Stabler's working relationship with Sergeant Bell and the Organized Crime Task Force if he goes rogue? Particularly effective is the way the episode handles the theme of addiction. Though never explicitly shown using drugs in this episode, Joe's history with substance abuse is alluded to multiple times. His insistence that Stabler tell their mother he was clean suggests this was important to his sense of redemption. When Stabler assures him, "She never knew you were using," it reveals how the family has protected their mother from the full truth about Joe's troubles, a common dynamic in families dealing with addiction. The directing choices enhance the emotional impact of key scenes. During the confrontation between the brothers, close-ups capture their complicated expressions, Joe's mixture of guilt and determination, Stabler's suspicion battling with brotherly love. The chase sequence employs rapid cuts and handheld camera work to create a sense of urgency and chaos. And in the death scene, the camera pulls back to give a sense of the isolated industrial setting where Joe dies, emphasizing how he ends his life far from home and family, with only his brother present. Season 5 Episode 9 of Law and Order, Organized Crime stands as a pivotal episode that will likely have far-reaching consequences for the remainder of the season. By focusing on Stabler's family and his response to personal loss, the show continues to distinguish itself from other procedurals by developing rich character arcs alongside its Case of the Week format. Joe's death adds another layer of tragedy to Stabler's already complex backstory and provides compelling motivation for his future actions. As the episode concludes with Stabler making a potentially career-ending choice to seek extrajudicial justice, viewers are left with a powerful reminder of the show's central theme: how personal connections can complicate professional duties, especially in high-stakes law enforcement. Whether Stabler will cross an unforgivable line or pull back from the brink remains to be seen, but this episode certainly pushes him closer to the edge than we've seen in a long time.